All right. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. Okay, good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Morristown area, the Observer Tribune, and New Jersey Hills Media Group, I am pleased to welcome you to our Mendham Township Candidate Forum. My name is Justine Mora. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Empowering voters and defending democracy is our mission. Elections and voting are core concerns to the League. We are committed to providing fact-based information about issues and positions candidates take on those issues to help voters make their own decisions and participate in the electoral process. We envision a democracy where everyone has the desires, the rights, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. The League, as a nonpartisan organization, never supports or opposes political parties or candidates. Members in the League is open to people 16 years and older of all gender identities. With 100 years of experience, the League is one of America's oldest and most trusted civic nonprofit organizations. Partnering with the League in presenting this forum, we welcome and thank Pat Robinson, Observer Tribune, New Jersey Hills Media Group, for working with us. Pat, would you like to say a few words?
Well, good evening, and thank you for coming. Pardon? Thank you for coming out this evening. I am Pat Robinson. I am the editor of the Observer Tribune. It's one of 14 newspapers in the family of New Jersey Hills Media Group. We've been the source of independent news for decades. If you're not familiar with what we do, I encourage you to visit observertribune.com. Our mission is to provide in-depth and balanced coverage of all things applying to the Mendham, Chester, and Harding and Washington Townships, including coverage of events like tonight's forum. As of just this year, we have converted to nonprofit status under our parent company, the wholly owned, locally owned Corporation for New Jersey's Local Media. The organization was founded to ensure the survival and growth of our newspapers so that we may sustain and improve upon our tradition of providing quality, fact-based, and fair and balanced local news from trained journalists at a time when local news outlets are disappearing across the country. We are honored to partner with the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area to co-sponsor this forum as we have to share a core common mission to inform and engage residents on the local issues that affect our everyday lives. An informed electorate is an empowered electorate, and we thank the League and all the candidates tonight for their commitment to keeping the public informed. Thank you, and thanks on your back.
Thank you, Pat. We are grateful to the Observer Tribune for its nonpartisan participation and support, and look forward to continuing our work together. We encourage everyone to go to vote411.org, a one-stop site for information on all aspects of voting in New Jersey, with information about all candidates up and down the ballot. And please visit our website, lwvmorrisarea.org, and the New Jersey League website, lwvnj.org, which addresses the latest in voting concerns. All forums conducted by the New Jersey League can be viewed on the New Jersey website, lwvnj.org. This forum is being live streamed on the Morristown area LWV YouTube channel and will be available there for viewing afterwards. We encourage the sharing of these recordings of this event in its entirety, but do not allow editing or making public any excerpts from the recording. Please silence your phones and refrain from taking photos or videos during the forum. The League name, logo, event recording, or any material from the event cannot be used in any way that could lead a viewer or reader to infer League support of or opposition to candidacy. And please visit our table at the Madison Bottle Hill Day this Saturday. That'll be really fun. And also the Morristown Festival this Sunday. as well as Get to Know Florham Park on Saturday, October 16th. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator, Sandy Matson. Sandy is a lead trained moderator who is not from the voting district. She will introduce the candidates and outline the format for this meeting.
Good evening, everyone. This is a forum devoted to hearing the views of the candidates running for the Mendham Township Board of Education to help you decide who you wish to cast your vote for. Just a few words about the format before I introduce the candidates. It is a timed format with opening and closing comments by all the candidates, and then 1 minute responses to the questions. A number of questions came online. Some were duplicates, but basically I expect to use all of them this evening. If you have a question, there are 3x5 cards. Find one, and I will work these in as time allows. Well, I'll use these first since you're here. I think that's important that you are here. So the timekeeper is Diane Holland, who is sitting in the front, who lets the candidates know when their time is up. And so that we can move along in the allotted time, I would ask that you hold your applause until the end of the forum. So the candidates there are 3 seats for a 3-year term. On my far left is Mr. Christman, Andrew Christman. Next to him is Joan Modi. I have my list right. Then Rochelle Abraham, and on my near left, I said right before, didn't I? I don't know my right from my left. It's Diana Orban Brown. So the candidates drew for opening order, and we're ready to begin. So Mr. Christman, 90 seconds.
Thanks to the league and to the Observer Tribune for doing this. And thanks to all of you for actually coming and showing some interest. I think it's really important. I'm Andrew Christman. I've been in town for 25 years with my wife Terry and our daughter Olivia, who is a product of this school district. She's moved on now. She's up in Boston. She went to Boston College, and she is now being a productive member of our society. I got to witness up close what a great education this town gives and what it meant to her and all of her friends. I've been on the school board for 10 years. First from 2008 to 2015, and again, I joined 3 years ago. It is amazing the education that we provide to this district. I was the president when this district had its first blue ribbon school name. I was vice president for a number of years. I've been the head of the chairman of the operations and finance team. When you take a look at the work that the board does and what it delivers, I don't think anybody can compete. And in fact, all the readings in the state and the nation say this is the best education anybody can get. I'm running alongside of my colleagues, Joan and Rochelle, and I think they're the ones, the 3 of us, will take the district to the future.
Ms. Orban Brown.
I'd like to thank the league, the Observer Tribune, and all of you who took time to come here or to watch on television. I'm Diana Orban Brown. I've lived in Mendham Township for almost 30 years and have served the community in various roles most of those years. I am seeking a seat on the Board of Education on the platform of transparency for taxpayers. By that I mean proactive communication from the board to all residents, including the 75% of households that don't have children in the schools. I propose live streaming or recording meetings and posting them on Mendham TV or YouTube. I propose a citizens advisory committee to provide feedback on budget deliberations
early in the game, in November and December, rather than waiting until April or May, when the budget is pretty much set in stone. I propose quarterly listening sessions where the board meets with residents outside the confines of regular board meetings. That's it for now, but I'll have more to say a little bit later.
Mrs. Modi.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay. My name is Joan Modi. I'd like to also thank the Observer Tribune and the League of Women Voters for hosting us here tonight. I'm running for re-election for the Board of Education. I'm the current president. I've been serving on the board for 4 years. My husband and I have lived in town with our 3 kids for the past 12 years, and we moved here to give our kids the excellent public education that I received in the neighboring community. Professionally, I'm an attorney. I've been practicing for 20 years. I have my own practice in Marshtown for the past 15 years. I credit my public education for my professional success because it has carried me through as a lifelong learner. Previously, I served on the Mendham Township Library Board of Trustees. I was the president there for 2 years. I headed the annual campaign for 3 years. And I view public service as an honor and the glue that keeps this community together.
Mrs. Abraham.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity of being here today. And thank you for those of you who came out and for those that are streaming this at their home. My name is Rochelle Cam Abraham. I have been a Mendham Township resident for nearly 8 years. I have 4 children. 2 of them attend the elementary school, and 2 of them are in the middle school. The reason why I'm running for school board is because I'm deeply committed to public service. And I am a firm believer of being involved in the community that you live in. Since moving to Mendham, I have served and volunteer at the school level for the past weeks. I've been class parent at the elementary and the middle school. I have been involved with HFA. I also have been serving as a volunteer board member for the Recreational Committee for the Town since 2016. I'm a practicing attorney, but in my previous career, I worked at one of the largest school districts in the United States, which is the New York City Department of Education. And during my tenure there with the New York City Department of Education, my team and I oversaw operations and resources, and we created and developed budgets for over 1,200 schools serving communities. If I am elected as the board member, I will draw from my experience in New York City district to ensure that our schools here in London continue to be high performing by making policies that support this.
Are you all able to hear the microphone down at my far left? Perhaps it needs to be held closer to your mouth. It may just be where I'm standing. But, I can't vote for you, so if I don't hear it, it doesn't matter, but I'd like the audience and those at home to make sure they can hear. We're going to start the questions at this point. The first one is going to go to Ms. Orban Brown. Do you think that Mendham Township and Mendham Borough could or should share more resources? 1 minute.
Very good question. I would hope they would. I think there are some cooperative arrangements going on. I firmly believe that the Board of Education should look for funding opportunities, shared opportunities, and take some of the burden off of taxpayers if they can.
Mrs. Modi.
Thank you. I believe that every single year that I've been on the board or been, following what is happening in our school district, the Mendham Township Board of Education has been trying to establish a bridge with the Board of Education from Mendham Borough. And as we've seen with multiple inquiries, whether it's the Township Committee, even the library, you need to have a willing partner to have a merger. We have certain services that we do share, and we would like to explore the possibilities. I, as president, will continue reaching out to the borough president and to continue exploring the possibilities. But again, we need to have both partners willing and able to do so.
Mr. Christmas?
The answer is yes, we should continue to explore shared services. The board currently is the biggest busing provider in the area, and the taxpayers reap a huge reward from that this year, I think, $1 billion in revenue. When I was the president 10 years ago, we were approaching Mendham Borough around how to do additional shared services, including in special education, which we do today. But as Mrs. Modi mentioned, we really need a willing partner. So it's both governing bodies need to be involved. And in fact, that extends out past Mendham Borough to all of the surrounding communities. I think we're good partners, but we're always going to have to keep working to find those opportunities to reduce the burden on the taxpayer.
Mrs. Abraham?
I think that I would need to have more information in terms of what are, the cost benefits. I am personally thrilled with the school district. I think they're doing a tremendous job of educating our kids. That's not to say that I will not be open to hearing what would be the benefits in joining with the borough. I think that currently the board could be looking at ways and avenues that they can identify where we could share services such as transportation, your special education and so forth. And I think that's something that we need to keep in mind as our district continues to attract more students and the class size continues to grow as well.
Anyone want to add?
I think there are lots of opportunities for partnership, possibly with Mendham Borough, but possibly with other surrounding communities. And I think we should keep our minds open about those possibilities.
There's a second here.
So one thing to keep in mind is that there's two parts to the equation when we talk about shared services. The shared services that we're increasing revenue or reducing costs, but it always leads to a discussion of mergers with the surrounding districts, and that's when you really need to think about the impact on education also. It's not just a cost discussion when we get into those topics, but it's always also primarily an education discussion once you go past the shared service.
Mr. Christman, you want to keep that microphone? And this is a question that came from the audience. What is your position on forming a K-12 district with the 2 Mendhams and the 2 Chapters?
So when I was on the board 12 years ago, all of the surrounding communities formed the mayor's council to explore that. The mayors were focused primarily on tax benefits or the impact in the case of Washington Township. The school board, and I was a vocal advocate of this, was again primarily focused on education impact. I think there's huge benefit to a larger district. New Jersey suffers from lots of small government, but what we continue to see is when you merge the districts, you don't necessarily see the benefit of the finances. And when you're the #1 education district in the community, that's going to be Mendham Township on the scope.
Mrs. Abraham?
I think that my answer is in line with what I had said earlier. I think it's something that could be explored. We have to determine what would be the cost benefit to our students in the township.
Mrs. Modi?
So last year, the board discussed and approved a proposal to participate in a study that would look into these options. So we are very willing and able to see what kind of benefit this would deliver our community, and then be advised of the results, and then decide from there. But as Mr. Christman pointed out, education is our primary goal here. We are a top-performing district in many different metrics, and we don't want to lose sight of that. So while the other districts might gain by merging it up, we have to consider what we would lose. But again, we are open to understanding what it would mean, and that's why we will participate in that study.
Mrs. Golden Brown?
we are blessed to be in an area where you have highly motivated students and highly motivated parents. And I think as far as educational excellence is concerned, there's a real opportunity to consolidate, bring together schools, districts, and achieve some savings, but achieve some synergy. We have two Blue Ribbon schools. Randolph just now has a Blue Ribbon school, so you can see that the value of a merger would benefit all of us.
We take to 12 mergers in 1 minute. The next question, I'm going to begin with Mrs. Abraham. What role should the schools take in preventing bullying and in supporting diversity in race, belief, religion?
I think the role of the school in these topics is concerned is crucial. I mean, our schools are learning institutions where our kids, attend, and they ought to be environments where all of the students feel safe, they feel supported, they feel included. So I think that the schools play a crucial role in making sure that our students are feeling supported and included. But I think that, a lot of people that talk about Mendham being a bubble, and it's great. It's a great bubble to live in, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of people move here. But we need to be preparing our kids to be able to live outside of this bubble and to be able to engage with people that are different than they do, that may think differently than they do, to really prepare our kids to be good citizens of the world.
This is Robin Brown, excuse me, the role of schools in preventing bullying and supporting diversity.
I'm going to bring up a controversial topic, and that is the change in curriculum that is coming from the state, from the State Department of Education. There's a lot of talk about it, but people should understand that it covers far more than what's being talked about. I mean, for instance, there are changes in civics, in technology, education, climate change education. The big one you hear about is the comprehensive health and phys ed guidelines. A lot of that spends time talking to children about respect, about cyber safety, about all of the things that they need to know to get on in this world. It's a completely different world than we ever expected it to be, and people should be, our children should be prepared.
Mr. Christmas.
The schools need to be leaders in the areas of diversity, inclusion, anti-bullying. We strongly focus on that in this district and have been for a long time. When you think about, Mrs. Abraham mentioned it, some people view Mendham as being a bubble. Nothing happens that happens in the outside world here. Well, in fact, it does, and we've seen increases in bullying over the past couple of years. You can think about some of the things that changed over the past couple of years that might cause that. The schools have to be focused on that. We have to be leaders in that in this town, and we need to prepare the students to leave this town and go into a far more diverse world where we expect them to be leaders, but they're only going to be able to be those leaders if they understand what that world looks like and can operate in it.
Mrs. Modi.
So the role of the school in dealing with bullying is mandated. We have besides the harassment, intimidation, and bullying standards that we have to abide by. The children are well aware of them, and they're expected to abide by them. And as Mr. Christman referred to, we've seen an uptick in the HIP violations in the past few years that are very concerning, targeting students of color or other marginalized groups in our schools. It is a blessing that our school has such a proactive SEL program, social emotional learning, where the kids are learning to recognize the dignity of themselves and others, and that hopefully is counteracting against some of the bullying that we are seeing. But Our school is focused on making sure that every student, every day, that's our motto, receives the great education that we deliver. And they can't do that if they are not feeling that they are effective.
There were a number of questions related to the elementary school health curriculum, the new state health curriculum. Both the roles of the various groups involved and also the issue of communication. So I have lumped those kind of all together. So you're going to be hearing a couple of questions about roles and then a couple of questions about communications on that same issue. So, Mrs. Modi, what is your position on parents' rights in determining curriculum content and topics to be excluded?
This is in regards to the sex ed curriculum.
Yes.
Okay. So specifically regarding the sex ed curriculum, I think that the parents' rights have been covered because we have given parents the option to opt out of any part or the entirety or 3 different parts if they do not want their student present. I think that if we had been given these guidelines and we didn't have that option, I would not have trusted that. So I feel more comfortable having parents have an option to do that. This is also part of the health curriculum. It is investing in children's physical and mental health at an age-appropriate level. So it's important, and if parents find things objectionable in that, they are free to opt out.
Mr. Chrisman, position on parents' rights in determining curriculum content.
So if I listen to the question specifically, it's about determining the content, but I think Joan is right to include parent options to take their students out of certain parts of the instruction, which we support and I know the state mandates. But when you really think about how the curriculum is designed, New Jersey has an incredibly rigorous curriculum process from the state to the local governing board, including the professionals, the superintendent, and the curriculum advisors, our curriculum committee. And where the parents are going to have an impact on curriculum is when they come to the meetings here, they advise us what they have an opinion on, looking at what we have posted on the website and what the state does. And then we take that back to the board and the professionals. So there's a full circle on their impact to the curriculum. But always remember it. There's parts of the curriculum they don't want their students participating in. They can opt out.
Ms. Orban Brown.
Well, this is the reference to the comprehensive health and physical education guidelines that were recently released. And in the interest of transparency, it is important for the Board of Education to proactively invite parents to voice their opinions. I think we need to trust our teachers. They're well schooled in this, but I think the parents should be able to express their opinions about it. I went through all 70 pages of the guidelines, and there's not a whole lot in there that's different from what I was taught when I was in grade school. So I trust that our teachers and administrators will handle this very well, and as everyone pointed out, there is an opt-out.
Mrs. Abraham.
I think that it's important for us to remember that the curriculum that has been developed specifically in our school, in our district, has been developed by highly qualified teachers in conjunction with the administrators. And this curriculum is following a set standard, under any standard. And the topics that you see covered, we got an email, and anyone can go to the website and you can download what the curriculum is per grade. You can see that it's differentiated. And so what the 8th graders are learning, it's not exactly what the 7th graders are learning, and that's because it's taking into account the emotional and social development of these kids at different ages. And the topics that are being covered in this, while some parents may find objectionable or something controversial, are really around safety of the students, how to take care of their body, how to, identify cyberbullying, how to, what is sexting. These are all things that are important.
If I could just take one comment.
Yeah, you may want to get to the next question.
No, I'm.
Go ahead.
This applies to
Go ahead. Yes,
I
yes,
actually
30
think
seconds.
it's tribute
I'm
to
sorry.
Mendham Township.
30 seconds.
Oh, I thought I got my rebuttal.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Tribute to Mendham Township. There's no space between anybody at this table about the curriculum, no matter what's going on in the rest of the world. And that's what's really important, is to remember education is local and the people on the school board represent the values of the community. And I'm really thrilled to hear the comments across the community.
Sorry, yes, your 30 seconds if you'd like.
Yeah, I also would like to express my pride in being part of the Board of Education and seeing, overseeing this process. The administration has been widely available to all parents who had any concerns about this issue. There have been multiple communications flowing out to parents since last spring. The website has been updated, and the engagement with the parents on this specific issue, I think, has resulted in a level of what Mr. Christopher referred to, which is community civility and collegiality.
Anyone else wish to add something at this time? 30 seconds.
Thank you. I wanted to add that regarding the question of parents, they do have, as Joan mentioned, the absolute right to opt out of anything that a parent finds objectionable. And also to parents can always, I mean, in my experience, pick up the phone, call the teacher, email the principal if there are any concerns with any of the materials that is being covered. And again, I want to reiterate that all of the curriculum is posted on the website for anyone to view.
I really urge people to go to the website. Some of it is the old curriculum in 2014. Very little in the guidelines has changed any of that. I've spoken with parents who have spoken with some of the teachers, and basically the teachers are saying, we're teaching what we were teaching previously, and what it was previously was perfectly acceptable. Nobody was concerned about it. I think we're being bullied, if you will, by some of the media who would like to cause trouble.
This is related, and I'm sorry, I didn't need to take your extra time. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Orban Brown, thinking about, a three-legged stool. We have the staff, superintendent, principal, leadership, curriculum committees. We have parents, and we have the school board. And so, what's the role of the Board of Education in terms of setting and monitoring or changing curriculum? Thinking about, my analogy, that was not in the question of three-legged stool, of the three bodies that have input, or I assume would have input, but what's the role of the Board of Ed in that?
Well, the Board of Ed is not a micromanager. The Board of Ed sets policy for the schools. The teachers and the administrators, particularly the teachers, present the curriculum. The Board of Education reviews it and comments on it. As far as the responsibility, this is where transparency comes into play. Very few people come to the Board of Education meetings. Sometimes I'm the only member of the public in the room. Often I'm the only member of the public in the room. It's almost a joke. The Board of Education should proactively invite parents and members of the public in to talk about these things and to get out in front of some of these issues that have been thrown out of proportion by morning talk show hosts.
Mrs. Modi.
So the role of the Board of Education, as Mrs. Rosenbaum pointed out, is we are not to micromanage the schools. We are to oversee the schools and follow the recommendations of the professionals. Our school has, the majority of our teachers have advanced degrees. Our principals are highly sought after. I'm sure that any other district would like to scoop them up at any moment. And it is our job to listen to educational professionals. We've gone through our professional experience. None of us are educational professionals, but we can use the skills we have in our professional lives to listen and analyze and consider the recommendations of the administration. So I think that that's an important thing to keep in mind, is that we need to follow the recommendations of the professionals and monitor it with a hands-off kind of perspective.
Mrs. Abraham?
I agree with Mrs. Modi. The board members, we're not educators. I mean, I don't think I can say anyone else. We're not legislators. We're not making these mandates or the laws or the standards. And I think we really need to be to follow the lead of the highly qualified teachers that we have hired and retained in the buildings, of the administrators, that they know what they're doing. We need to trust that process. Our role in the board is to approve, every action that we take is to the benefit of the students, always with, having the best interest of the students, in mind.
Mr. Christmas?
I'm not going to repeat what was talked about. That's a good primer on how the board of governance works. What I will say is how the board in this town operates is exactly in that role. And Mrs. Robert Brown mentioned transparency and that she's often the only member in the audience, which is very true. We'd love to see more people here having a conversation with the board. But the truth is, the feedback we get is they get their answers from the superintendent, who is our only employee as a board. And then we work amongst each other and him at this point to work with his professional staff to develop these curricula. I think that when you get to a transparent conversation about that, it couldn't be any more transparent than the flow from the state to the superintendent, to the board, to the curriculum advisors, to the curriculum committee, and then back to the board, all in public. And I think the way this district is operating contributes to that process.
One of the things I've advocated, and it's on the basis of the experience we've had at Mendham Township and the Mendham Township Committee, is videotaping or recording or live streaming the Board of Education meetings. I've talked to many, many people in this campaign, and they say, we've got little kids. At 7:30 at night, we're feeding them, or we are doing homework for them, or with them, sorry. We cannot spend that much time doing those things.
The last question that also came out of issues with the elementary school health curriculum is about communication. Parents are seeking a partnership, a better dialogue with the school board about these changes. Should the board be more proactive in this dialogue? And if the answer is yes, how would you accomplish that? Mr. Christmas?
I'll acknowledge that the person who asked the question clearly feels that there needs to be more proactive communication. I will say, given the national tone on this topic, it's been surprising to us as a board how little interaction we've gotten from the public. We've had a few people that have come to ask, answer, and then felt happy with the answer. Superintendent has been open to many conversations and has had them. Been reported back that, for the most part, I actually will say all of the cases, once it's explained as both the candidates up here described, parents have been happy. So the communication is taking place, and from where I sit, people are pleased with the outcome. It just has been a learning process that I think is working for how we interact here in Mendham.
Mrs. Abraham, the question was, should the board be more proactive in this dialogue with parents? And if the answer is yes, what would you do?
I think that the board could expand on this if clearly there are parents or citizens that are feeling that the board could take a more proactive stance in facilitating communication with the administration and with the school. Just putting my hat of parent on, I know that my experience in dealing with the schools, with the principals, with the teachers has always been a good experience. There has never been a single occasion that I can remember where I've had an issue or a concern and I did not, reach out to the teacher and that was addressed. And if it wasn't addressed to my satisfaction, I would escalate it to the principal and then to the superintendent if it needed to be. And those lines of communication have always been open. As far as the board is concerned, the parents and citizens can write to send us emails of concern. They can come to the meetings, they can attend the meetings and voice the concerns and any questions that they have.
Mrs. Modi.
So, I think the chain of command is something that we learn in our ethics training as board of education members. And the chain of command is from parent to teacher, to principal, to superintendent, to board of education. That chain of command is respected by all the board members so that we do not micromanage, so we don't step into the education realm. Thus far, as Mr. Griffin pointed out, we have not had so much parent interaction on this issue where it's risen to the level of the Board of Education. I think because our trusted professionals have handled the situation in a very hands-on and responsive manner. Our parents are responded to and respected. They are engaged with by the principal, by the superintendent. Our superintendent is available to parents all day long and is available by phone, by email, gives out a cell phone number. The principals both are very responsive as well. If this became an issue where we were seeing more engagement from the public, of course we would respond. But thus far, we've been lucky enough that the trusted professionals have been handling it properly.
Mrs. Golden Brown, the issue of more proactive in the dialogue.
I certainly agree that our administration and our teachers are very forthcoming, very approachable. But this is the whole crux of why I am running. Some use the term outbound transparency, meaning, yes, the agenda is posted, generally speaking, at least a few hours before a board meeting, very detailed agenda. But who knows that it's there? You have to really find it, you have to members to look for it. The agenda to be pushed out via email to residents, just as it is in the Mendham Township Committee. In addition to that, the recording of the meetings is absolutely essential. There was an organization called TAG, Transparency and Accountability in Government. And when they started videotaping the Mendham Township Committee meetings, attendance soared. It's not always great. Democracy is ugly, but it is essential.
Yes, sir, 30 seconds.
As a follow-up to Mrs. Orban Brown's comments on transparency, I think it's a longer discussion, but it's interesting. There was an article in the paper, I believe it was today, that highlighted that the transparency laws in New Jersey, we're known as one of the most open government states in the nation. Were written in the 70s, and all governing bodies are trying to navigate exactly how to do this in terms of recording meetings, transmitting meetings. We've chosen to operate the way we do because of our read of the rules. But again, we're always open to changing the transmission.
I was really happy to see when I did some research that a number of our neighboring communities do record their meetings and post them in a variety of ways. Some do it this way on YouTube, pass the microphones back and forth. Some record them, it's an audio recording. Some actually live stream them. So others are doing it. The navigation isn't difficult, and I really wish our Board of Education would consider that. Consider live streaming them or recording them.
Okay, we're going to change topics here. And I'm going to start with Mrs. Abraham. The question is, how can the board ensure that the school district continues to invest in infrastructure while also achieving sustainability. So the issue of infrastructure investment and sustainability in those bricks and mortar type decisions.
Thank you. I think that that's a really important question, and it's something that the board needs to be practically looking at. You know, I know that there has been, this is something that the Board of Education is looking at right now. I have only been on the board for a few months, but we, there's a proposal to have a study that comes in and looks at our schools to make them more green. And I think that this is something that would be valuable for our schools.
Mr. Christmas.
This is a topic not just at the school level, but in companies all across America. In fact, it's required that it's part of their governing policy. We on the board take a look at each one of the infrastructure upgrades we do and determine how it can be more green, more sustainable, has an added benefit of reducing costs to the taxpayer because they have long-term benefits. We've had people comment on whether we should be looking at electric buses. The answer is yes, as long as they don't add a burden to the taxpayers and they have a long-term benefit. What everybody is going to see very soon is an increase in non-taxpayer funded energy improvements to these schools based on work that the board has done and the administration. So I'm actually thrilled with what we've done there.
Ms. Organ Brown.
The school district is about to embark on a $20 million capital campaign infrastructure upgrade and improvement. And I think this is a fabulous opportunity for a close examination. I was invited to be part of the planning and facilities committee for the run-up to the referendum. A great deal of input, and this is a good example of perfect transparency. I'm a communications professional, and a great deal of input was solicited from the public. They were listened to. It was all on Zoom, and the outcome of it was a very solid plan that was approved by 70% of the voters. So I think being out there and being transparent is very, very important.
Mrs. Modi.
So we've actually recently approved an energy savings improvement plan, and it's a project in which we're going to update the HVAC system. We're going to convert the lights to more energy efficient lighting. There'll be window and door replacements, and the goal of having solar panels at the middle school as well. And we are planning this to coincide with the referendum construction that Mr. Rosenbaum referred to in order to optimize the work timeline and hopefully save costs. And this project is aimed to produce energy savings, and it will be at no cost to the taxpayer. So we are looking to optimize the work with the referendum that the majority of our town approved with the energy savings with the goal of sustainability for our district. Anyone have anything you want to add?
We begin next with Mrs. Modi. Our school budget is currently 2/3 of our property tax bill. What do you see as opportunities for better value and efficiency?
So our board is not a corporation, but we produce revenue. We have a multi-pronged strategy to do that. So we have a busing transportation, basically a business that we contract out our buses to the neighboring districts to run their routes, and it creates revenue. We also are reanimating our education foundation that was previously established to create another avenue for revenue. We're also looking into how to attract more people to our special services because our schools of special services are so excellent, and that would result in tuition coming into the school. All of these things are mindful of how we can reduce the taxpayers' burden. And I would, just like to emphasize that it's really not usually typical or the job of the board to create revenue, and our board is doing that year after year after year. Ms. Golden Brown.
The taxes we pay for schools, 68% of our property tax bill, the bulk of which goes to the K-8 education system. Those are investments in our children, in our community, and in the future of this country. However, like all investments, we keep an eye on them and make sure that the money is being used efficiently, and also look for revenue opportunities that actually do produce net gains. The bus revenues have been mentioned a couple of times, and yes, there are top line revenues. So we've never seen an analysis of how much actually goes to a profit. The profit is what would ease the burden on the taxpayers, and I would like to suggest, and I will, to the Board of Education, that they do a thorough analysis of not only the revenues, but also the expenses, and give us an analysis of whether we're making money or losing money on our buses.
Mr. Christman, the issue of opportunities for better value and efficiency with our tax dollars used in schools.
A huge amount of time at the school board is spent on how to reduce the burden on the taxpayers. That's done by finding efficiency, and that is, as chair of the operations committee, I can tell you we spend a huge amount of time doing that, working with the administration, looking for where the money can be saved on a bottom-up budget, not a increase year-over-year budget. The school bus discussion, we harp on it a lot because of not just the top line revenue, but because of the analysis that we did a few years ago with our auditors that returned very favorable results, and we've been encouraged across the board of agreed that we need to continue to build that program out. It's the number one way we are going to reducing the burden on the taxpayer, short of other small areas. And as a shared service provider that every taxpayer in the state encourages us to do, we're a leader in that in Southern Washington.
Mrs. Abraham.
The school responsibility is crucial. I mean, all of us, most of us have kids that are still in the school system. We also are taxpayers in this town. And I think that managing our budget to balance the needs of the students while being considerate of the taxpayers' money is essential. And I think, as my colleagues mentioned, there might be other opportunities, such as with transportation, that we can seek to create revenue streams for our schools, and that could be shared services as well.
Question from the audience. I'll begin with Mrs. Orban Brown. In your opinion, is it more important to take into consideration the overall concerns of taxpayers with no school-age children in the district, or that of taxpayers with children in the district? And why?
All taxpayers are created equal. And I think that the taxpayers who don't have children in the school, by and large, support the money that goes into education because they do recognize it as an investment. However, they should be heard, and so should those parents who have children in their school. And right now, very few people are making their voices known to the school board. So, in the interest of good communication, there really has to be avenues opened up so it's much easier for people to reach the school board to make their case and to hear from the school board whether their opinions are being listened to and will be responded to. Some school boards will actually If they can't answer the question at the time, we'll have an administrator assigned to answer the question. Or they will have 2 opportunities to speak at school board meetings. Needs to be a better dialogue.
Mrs. Abraham.
I think it's both. I think that we have, two different constituencies, but that we all want the same things. We want our properties, the values of our properties to remain the same or maybe increase. That is really directly tied to the type of schools that we have. I mean, we have families that are moving here on a weekly basis, from the city, from wherever they're coming from, because of our schools. That is the main attraction. That is our main product, I would say, in this area. And so, I think we need to listen to both, and we need to strike a really delicate balance where we keep our schools excellent, but we're also, minding the taxpayers' dollars.
Mr. Christmas.
I don't think it's an either or. I think every person in this town deserves to have their tax dollars spent appropriately. And when you think about it, if this was a business, people would be cheering because they have the #1 product on the market. And I really think a lot about the taxpayers who don't currently have students in the district. Some of them have pre-K students they moved here to come into the district. Some of them are like me, whose daughter went through the district, and I still consider myself having a child in the district. And some never did. But the ones that never did can actually look proud that they actually have a student body that is their student body that they are making successful. And honestly, I think they're going to be the leaders of the future here in New Jersey and around the world because of what we're doing here, and their tax dollars are making that happen.
Yeah. 30 seconds.
So, we are a community and we are a robust and amazing community. I don't see any point in prioritizing taxpayers with or without children. 100% of the taxpayers pay their taxes and contribute to the school district. The school district that is attracting more and more families every month. In the past month, we've had 6 new students added to the school district. The past month, that means after school started, people have actually increased the student population. So I think we're all contributing to the success of the district. Mr. Orban Brown, 30 seconds.
So 75% of the households in Mendham Township do not have children in the school. Many of them are senior citizens. A lot of them would like to stay here. So it's so important. So I would like the school board, the administrators, everyone down the line to be cognizant of keeping the taxes under control. Again, as it's been stated, 68% of our tax dollars go to the schools.
Only one of them.
That was a
Was that your first?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that. That's okay.
She got shorted.
Yes, if I skip you, if I lose my place,
All right, so
yell at me.
give her a whole minute, and then she will have a
30 seconds.
So, 100% of our taxpayers benefit from the quality of our schools. It upholds the property values. We have seen people making offers on houses that are not for sale. We have seen houses go on the market and off in one day because of our schools. And now our population is increasing and we will handle that responsibly. But there's not a conversation that takes place amongst the board members because we are all taxpayers. There's not one conversation that takes place where we don't take into consideration that we are duty bound to every resident of this town, and we always prioritize the school.
It is interesting when you think about it, they're senior citizens, and I think we need to do everything in the state to reduce the burden on them for taxes across the entire state. I also know that there's young families that are moving in that are really working hard to pay the taxes for the education their students get. What's most interesting in my tenure on the board, most people that sat in this audience was when we were having a conversation whether the average tax would go up by $60 a year, or we would increase the class size by a few students. And we were overwhelmed with people telling us, don't touch the education. We can bear the $60. So that gives us a sense of the board where the priorities of the town are.
And I apologize. According to my little cheat sheet, you went second, but I obviously jumped. This will go first to Mrs. Abraham. What can our schools do this is about the crisis of fentanyl poisoning of our youth. What can the schools do to raise the alarm and protect our children?
I think our schools just need to, do education of the kids and expose them to the issues. I think that a lot of times when I speak to some parents that are concerned, for instance, about the family life curriculum, they don't want to expose their kids to certain topics that they think might put ideas in their heads. But I think we're really doing a disservice to our children by not exposing them of the dangers and teaching them how to protect themselves. So I think it's the schools have to play a critical role in this and in teaching our children how to stay safe, particularly as it pertains to substance abuse issues.
Mr. Christman, what can the schools do to raise the alarm and protect their children, particularly related to fentanyl or other drugs?
As we talked about up here, our community is not immune to the things that go on in the greater world. What we need to do is continue our partnership with the Mendham Township Police Department, the strong partnership that the police chief just highlighted that he has with our administration and with the counselors. And I think also make sure that we invest in counselors who are facing off with these children on a regular basis. When you think about that triangle, right, embracing the children and making sure there's full awareness from all the constituents, turning the parents into it, that's how we're going to keep our town safe, not just from fentanyl, but from every other issue that's going on that they're all being affected by, whether you see it every day or not.
Ms. Orban,
part of the health and phys ed curriculum does talk about drug usage, and not illegal drugs, but drugs in your parents' medicine cabinet. But this fentanyl issue is a different animal altogether. Just recently, the Drug Enforcement Agency has sent out a bulletin urging parents, schools, everyone to watch for the so-called rainbow fentanyl that's pouring into the United States. And we're on the verge of Halloween, and people really do have to be aware of it. I would be very happy, and I'm sure the Mendham Township Police Department and Chief Johnson would endorse this. I would be very happy if bulletins went out to parents, and if this was discussed in public, even at the township committee level. We need to be warned about these strange new drugs that are being pushed on our kids.
Mrs. Modi.
Well, I really appreciate the question as a mother of three. It's terrifying, and as Mrs. Abraham referred to earlier, I think there is this misperception that we live in a protected bubble here in Mendham. We are not immune to issues of addiction or substance abuse. One of our goals on the board this year is to further solidify our partnership with the Mendham Township Police Department. Chief Johnson spoke at our meeting this month, and we hope to have biannual reports from him in order to build on his very robust relationship that he already has with Dr. Constantino and the counseling staff and the teachers and principals of our schools. I think, in addition, our SEL curriculum is inherent in everything that's done in the school, and that is really addressing these issues from a young age where kids are learning how to deal with anxiety and depression sooner, identify where they might be feeling that way. The counselors have open door policies And I think if you can support the kids in that way, the likelihood of addiction will hopefully be lower. Anyone have anything to add?
A question from the audience, Mr. Christman. What is your position on transgender education, and at what grade level should that be addressed?
I'm not the professional, and I'm not going to pretend I can tell you what grade level it should be addressed. I'm going to tell you it's part of our society, and we embrace and have to embrace every student in this town. We want to educate every student to excellence. Every one of them needs to feel valued and a part of the community, and that means how they feel and how all of the students around them feel. So I'm not going to pick a grade. Professionals are going to do that. We're going to revise, but I'm going to tell you, I will never sit here and say, if I'm advising a certain grade, the right grade, that it's wrong. That's not my place. We have to watch out for the students.
Ms. Orban Brown.
Again, the comprehensive health and visit guidelines address at an early age recognition of differences in all of us and respect and acceptance for people who are different from you. I think this is the approach you take in the younger grades. Believe me, by the older grades, kids are well aware of some of the transgender and other issues. They're well aware, some of them are deeply involved in LGBTQ activities. I think the educators have a pretty good handle on how you talk about these things. But again, parents need to know about it ahead of time. The school board really needs to get out in front of this and be very transparent.
Mrs. Modi.
So the lawyer in me wants to know, define transgender education. Are you educating transgender students, or are you teaching about it? And regardless, we must educate every child with dignity and respect, and I would trust the professional to determine how that is addressed at an appropriate level for the age group. The new curriculum, as it has been set out by the educational professionals, says that the parents have been made aware of the changes since last spring, and all of those changes have been made available to the parents. But at the core, I think our SEL programming in our schools teaches children to treat everybody with dignity and respect. There's a program in middle school called Windows in the Mirror, which teaches them to read a text and look at themselves in the mirror and look at other students through the window. And that's teaching them empathy and hopefully the ability to to reach out to others with the same dignity and respect.
I think that our schools have a really critical role in this because, first and foremost, the schools need to provide a safe and supportive environment that is inclusive of all students, regardless of their sexual identity, their race, creed, their national origin, or background. That's the law. I believe that highly qualified teachers, the professionals that developed this curriculum, they know what they're doing, and there's a way to speak about gender identity at different age that is appropriate for the students depending on their grade and their age.
I'm going to have that be the last question since we're running just about at an hour since we started. A number of questions which I didn't get to, one related to morale in the various schools, another communications that we touched on, which related to particularly the fiscal information that comes out each year. One about whether or not we should start school in August. I think that was the ones that we did not get to. Candidates drew for closing remarks. They have 90 seconds. And Mr. Christmas.
It's been a great discussion amongst the candidates, and I'm really glad that more people than come to our board meetings attended, and we'll see how many people watched on the live stream. I'm hopeful. First, we've had a few comments about transparency. I would suggest that there's an incredible amount of transparency in the district. Don't be distracted. That's not the issue on the case. It's about results. It's about financial responsibility. It's about making sure that next year our students are educated to a better level than they were this year, which has always been what we've driven for, while making sure the burden on the taxpayers is always addressed. We're lucky in Mendham because we are not having a conversation about increasing class size to 30 or 35 to address the budget burden. And I don't think anybody in this town is advocating for that. What they always say, and I think what most of the people that are here are looking at is, are my students going to be better prepared than the previous generation for the world in front of them? Mendham Township's doing that, and we're going to keep focusing on that while being transparent, as we always are. And I will also say my email address and the other candidates' email addresses are available. We're always available for a conversation, but we're going to be focused on the education of the students.
Ms. Autumn Brown.
I have a unique educational experience. Public and parochial grade school, including a time in an inner city school, an all-girls high school, graduation from a public state university, and for the last 16 years of my communications career, I worked for Rutgers, which is considered one of the most diverse universities in the United States. We have covered a lot of territory tonight, and we agree that we are here for the children, every student, every day. Mendham Township prides itself on being welcoming to newcomers. The Board of Education should be equally welcoming to all the residents it serves, and can do so by substantially increasing its transparency and outreach. Many nearby boards live stream and record their meetings and post them. Some offer members of the public 2 opportunities at each meeting to comment. Some answer questions on the spot or assign an appropriate administrator to research and answer residents' questions. Certainly, public engagement is uncomfortable, can be uncomfortable. But public understanding of board actions and how these actions affect our children is essential. In many ways, the Board of Education could operate more like this forum tonight. It's all about transparency. Thank you.
Mrs. Lowy.
Thank you to everyone for being here tonight. And I also am buoyed by how lovely this conversation has been, and I think that's a tribute to our community yet again. I'm running to continue the great work of our Board of Education. Our schools are the crown jewel of this community. The current Board of Education has been able to ensure that our district continuously delivers excellent education during COVID, which minimized learning loss for our students as compared to those on a national level. We have maintained an optimal working relationship with the administration and teachers. We passed a referendum this year to update our school facilities and create more advanced learning environments for the next generation of students. We work to create revenue to ease the tax burdens of our residents while recognizing that our schools are the biggest factor in maintaining home values here. We work hard to do all of these things in a collegial and professional environment. We want to ensure that all of the new residents who have moved to Mendham Township to enjoy the benefits of our amazing school system continue to receive the education that they expected. Thank you.
Mrs. Taylor.
My neighbors and my friends in town, and those that know me well, understand that to me volunteering and serving my community is part of who I am. Over the past several weeks, and I announced that I was running for the board, I started receiving a lot of texts of, folks that I know in the area, of what I wanted to do if I got elected to the board. And sometimes it felt like people thought I had a, a hidden agenda. Let me just tell you, I don't have any hidden agendas at all. I want the opportunity to service the community. I personally think that our current board, Joan and Andrew, are doing a phenomenal job. Our administrators, our teachers. I'm always proud to say that my kids attend the Mendham Township School District. I'm not running on a platform that I feel like something's broken and needs to be fixed. No. I just want the opportunity to support the great work that we are already doing.
Thank you. I want to thank you for your participation and those of you who joined us online, and to the candidates for sharing their positions on the issues that were raised this evening. And so now is the time that we can clap and thank them for coming and thank you for attending. A couple of quick reminders. I heard someone mention during the forum about the number of new families. This is the beginning of the year. Voter registration deadline is the 18th of October. So if you have new neighbors or people who have moved, there is still time to do voter registration. And then we're all into knowing about, we have 3 ways to vote. You can vote by mail, you can do early voting in person, or you can go on election day. So thank you again very much for attending, and thank the candidates for sharing their views. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The content of this forum is owned by the voting voters. Only the league may record this forum. Our recording is available for viewing on the Morristown Area League YouTube channel and website. So if you guys want to go visit that, it is on YouTube.